Welcome to Gartner ThinkCast. I'm Karen Stokes-Lockhart. Today, we're looking ahead to next week's Gartner IT Symposium Expo in Orlando, Florida, by first looking back. Each year at IT Symposium Expo, our experts lay out major pieces of research and themes that continue to be built upon across the next year. Last year was, of course, focused on AI with new and continued developments in GenAI, Agentic AI, and even Guardian agents, all along different sections of the Gartner hype cycle. That's set to grow and evolve with this year's conference. So to help set the stage, we're revisiting a few sessions from this past year as a reminder of where we've been and what we've been looking forward to as we get ready to hear the latest insights for 2026. First, you'll hear from Mary Mesaglio and LeHong from the opening keynote on how to set your own pace in the AI races. Then Gene Alvarez will touch on Agentic AI from his top strategic technology trends session. And finally, Daryl Plummer will go over Guardian agents in a future-looking perspective in his session, 7 Disruptions You Might Not See Coming. To start off, here's Mary Mesaglio and LeHong.
Nearly half of CIOs say that AI hasn't met ROI expectations. It sort of feels like you're at the peak and in the trough at the same time. That's because there are actually 2 AI races taking place. The first one is happening outside your organization in the industry. That's the tech vendor race.
Some people might tell you that this is your race, that you must adopt the latest AI or else you'll fall behind. But it's just not true. You don't have to win this race. As a matter of fact, you're not even in this race, but you are in some kind of race. You can feel it. 57% of CIOs are tasked with leading the AI strategy in the organization. And even with all this GenAI fatigue of the last year, you're still under pressure from CEOs to execute.
CEOs agree that there's AI hype, but they largely think it's justified. For years, only around 20% of CEOs said that AI was the tech that would most impact their industry. Then, in 2023, that number leapt to 59%, and in 2024, it leapt again to 74%. We said there are 2 races. The second race is a race to deliver AI outcomes safely and at scale. This is your race. And this is why it can feel like you're at the peak and in the trough at the same time. Because the relentless innovation happening in the tech vendor race makes it feel like you're always living the hype. While the reality of your AI outcomes race, how tough it is to get real value, makes it feel like you're also in the trough.
If you're in IT, like it or not, you're in the AI outcomes race. Now, the good news is that you set your pace. If you have modest AI ambitions in an industry that isn't being reinvented by AI just yet, you can afford to go at a more measured pace. This is the AI steady pace. For those of you with bigger AI ambitions, or in an industry that is being reinvented by AI, your pace will be much faster. This is the AI accelerated pace.
Now, if you're not squarely responsible for AI, you might be thinking that you're a spectator in this race. Maybe you're thinking, why are we talking about AI when I'm just upgrading ERP? But AI is impacting all corners of IT. In fact, AI will likely be implemented into ERP in the next upgrade or 2. It's here. And as Hung said, you set your pace, but you're in the race.
Whether you're moving at an AI steady or AI accelerated pace, you have to deliver 3 types of AI outcomes: business outcomes, technology outcomes, and behavior outcomes. Now, the whole point of AI in the enterprise is the promise of amazing business benefits. So we'll address these first. The truth is that you've been in the mud for the last year, working hard to find all those benefits that were promised by AI, and it hasn't been easy. Here are the AI benefits you've told us you're aiming for. Globally, an average enterprise expects 50% of their AI benefits to be focused on employee productivity, 30% on process improvement, and 20% on business model innovation. One of the easiest ways to determine if you can move at an AI steady or AI accelerated pace is to ask yourself, what are the benefits that my enterprise is looking for? If employee productivity is your main focus, then an AI steady pace will work for you. But those of you saying, my leadership and I, we want all of those benefits, then you need to move at an AI accelerated pace. Let me start with employee productivity, since a lot of you are focused there. Let me just say this bluntly. Getting productivity value from GenAI is harder than it looks. First, to get productivity to increase, you have to get your people to actually use the new AI tools and then keep using them.
It turns out that IT leaders almost universally find that employees are eager to try new AI tools, but most of them admit that employees have a hard time integrating AI into their daily work. I think a lot of people thought that using everyday AI would be as easy as ChatGPT, and it's not. Employees who've successfully integrated AI into their daily work say that they get almost 4 hours of time back per week. That's awesome, right? That's 43 minutes saved per day. What would you do with 43 extra minutes in a day? Work harder? Personally, I'd go get a latte. We have a formal name for going to get a latte. It's called productivity leakage. Gartner expects you to experience between 10 and 30% leakage, depending on the use case. The bottom line is that time saved doesn't necessarily translate into increased business benefit.
But here's the real challenge with AI productivity. Productivity from gains from GenAI are not equally distributed. Gains will vary by employee according to the complexity of the job and the level of experience. Here's what I mean. With traditional automation, we all get equal productivity benefits. If the automation fills out an address for us, it doesn't matter what our role is or how much experience we have. You're an experienced worker, it fills out the address. You just started, it fills out for the address too. But GenAI is not like that. Take Mbula, an agent in a government call center. She's only been there for 6 months, but when Mbula is assisted by GenAI, she's able to resolve issues for citizens much faster than without it. Now, if we walk down 4 cubicles to Frank, who's been there for 5 years, you give Frank GenAI, it's almost useless for him. He's been there for 5 years. He already knows how to resolve citizens' issues. Frank's call recordings probably trained the AI in the first place.
Mbula and Frank were doing relatively low complexity work. Now consider a lawyer. Their work is more complex. Give a newly minted lawyer GenAI, and it won't help much. They can't tell good AI output from bad yet because they're new. But give GenAI to an experienced lawyer, and it can boost them a ton. They know what good looks like. This example is the exact opposite of Mbula and Frank. Here, the experienced lawyer gets the biggest boost because getting the AI benefit requires deep experience of the law, and only really experienced lawyers have that.
What makes achieving AI productivity easier is matching job complexity and job experience. The rule of thumb is that you'll get more AI productivity when you match low complexity and low experience, or high complexity with high experience. If you get this right, you'll unlock AI productivity across the whole enterprise. Now, knowing all of this, if you had 40 people in your call center, would you give them all GenAI, no matter what their level of experience? Of course you would. All of the agents get some kind of boost, but there is a sweet spot, the deep productivity zone. We recommend you find these deep productivity zones and focus there.
Let me give you one more thing that will help you on your quest for more AI productivity. Neophilia. Yep, I just said neophilia. And I know it sounds like something you really don't want to catch. But bear with me, it's actually a really good thing. Neophilia is defined as a natural attraction to newness. You're a neophiliac if you're someone who went out and bought the Apple Vision Pro goggles on the first day. You're not a neophiliac if you're someone who, after 15 years, still wishes you had your BlackBerry. Some of you are not neophiliacs, I can tell. Your action is to search for your neophiliacs. They are your change champions. They can show their peers how to use AI way better than management can.
So for those of you going at an AI steady pace, employee productivity is mostly what you seek. And you'll get that benefit by focusing on deep productivity in that sweet spot. If you get productivity right, it also leads to other benefits. In the public sector, cities like Austin and Vancouver are using AI from Australian company Archistar to process building permit requests much faster. The AI checks drawings and submissions to automatically approve for compliance. In this case, productivity leads to happy citizens and happy builders. In the industrial sector, they're also going beyond employee productivity. John Deere, a heavy machinery company, uses AI on their sprayers to help farmers reduce herbicide amounts by more than half. Why spray the whole field when AI can detect where the problem areas are and spray just those? If employee productivity is the only benefit that you want from AI, don't you want more? Like asset yield, speed, new revenue, customer experience, reduced losses? Those of you running at an AI accelerated pace, you definitely do. And those of you running at an AI steady pace will use employee productivity as a gateway to all of these benefits.
Costs are the other side of business outcome, and they're a challenge in AI no matter what pace you're running at. The first thing to know about AI investments is that they're not like conventional IT investments. In the near term, Gartner believes that cost is as big an AI risk as security or hallucinations. With GenAI, it's really easy to waste money.
How easy? Well, if you don't understand how your GenAI costs scale, you can make a 500 to 1,000% error in those cost estimates. That's not a typo. This cost derailment can come from all sorts of places, from inference costs and data prep costs and grounding costs. Meanwhile, software vendors are raising prices by up to 30% as they incorporate GenAI. So how much should you spend? In 2023, organizations that are already deploying GenAI typically spent between $300,000 and $2.9 million US dollars just in their proof of concept phases.
Here's what to do. For those of you running at an AI steady pace, you need to understand the bill. Remember your first cloud bill? Your first reaction was probably shock. How could it cost that much? Your second reaction might have been confusion. What are they even charging me for? It's like that with GenAI. No matter what pace you're running at, you need to understand the bill. For those of you running at an AI accelerated pace, we recommend you monitor these AI costs at all times, just like the way some of you monitor your cloud costs today. Also, some of our clients have avoided spending millions of dollars on GenAI by using an API with their own web front end instead of buying a packaged AI product. One last idea. When you do a proof of concept, don't just do it to prove that the technology works and that employees like it. Use the proof of concept to also understand how your costs will scale. When you do this, your proof of concept becomes a proof of value.
Let's do a recap. You're on the hook for business outcomes, which means mastering both the AI benefits and the costs. Those of you that are going at an AI steady pace are pursuing productivity. Your action is to switch focus from traditional productivity to deep productivity. If you're going at an AI accelerated pace, your goal is to go beyond productivity and manage the whole portfolio of benefits afforded by GenAI. And whether you're AI steady or AI accelerated, remember that costs with GenAI are unpredictable. So understand the bill and make sure you test for how those costs scale.
Hi, I'm Mary Mesaglio, a Vice President Distinguished Analyst at Gartner. I've led several sessions at many Gartner conferences through the years, and if there's one thing I can say about them, it's that attending them is the best way to stay ahead of the competition. Each conference I've been to provides attendees with invaluable insights and ideas, and the content is always relevant and tailored to key issues being faced by leaders in every core business, be it finance, HR, sales, IT, supply chain, or marketing. Join me at a Gartner conference to learn about emerging trends and gain new perspectives that you won't be able to find anywhere else. Leave our conferences ready to contribute more at work, and most importantly, be equipped with the skills to turn new ideas into action. Visit Gartner.com/conferences or the link in the description of this podcast to learn more.
Next up, you'll hear Jean Alvarez covering Agentic AI.
So, every day, we wake up with the challenge of bringing innovation to our organizations. And what's made it harder over the last 20 years is those waves of innovation come at us faster and faster every day. So that made me think of an analogy that I would be using today for this presentation. We are all going to be surfers. We're going to decide what beaches we should surf at and what waves we should ride. Our first beach here is AI imperatives and risks, and I'm going to build on what you heard in the keynote around Agentic AI. So we have this as really 2 to 3 years, but it's now. And I don't know about you. There isn't a day that I wake up where I don't have a list of 1,000 things to do, and every night I go to bed worried about the things I didn't get done. And this is why we believe everybody needs an agent. We need agents. Why? Well, what can they do for us? The first thing is that agents are employees that never need benefits. They don't call in sick. They work 24 hours a day and will do things for us that we often find mundane, or even more than that. They can do things with us or without us because they have the ability to plan and sense and make decisions and monitor and much more. Also, they may make websites or applications unnecessary. Now, I'm not saying this is the death of the website or the death of the application, but think about how many times people in your organization get onto a website to check something, then decide to do something based on what they saw. Same thing for an application. We can have agents do those things for us. In fact, we believe that they're important because they can upskill your workforce. So you saw Mbula. Mbula was able to become productive in less than 6 months and have the equal productivity of somebody with 5 years. But it can also enable new concepts of scale. So I want you to think of a list when you leave this presentation of things you would like agents to do for you in your organization. And say, what if we actually created them? Lastly, they can create new coworkers. Now, I don't know about you. I've always wondered how Tony Stark could run a multi-billion-dollar company and have time to be an Avenger. He had Jarvis. Multiple Jarvises. Jarvis everywhere. Jarvis for you. Jarvis for everyone. So some of the things to watch for and do is that you're going to see your application providers starting to offer agentic AI in their application. They may make big announcements, which you've had some this month, or they may just put it in there and you can start using it. Also, you'll need to know when this happens, it's a signal it's in your organization. One of your developers walks up to you and says, "Hi, look what I created. Here's an agent that monitors all of our critical infrastructure, and it's going to manage it while I'm on vacation." Right? That's pretty scary. But this is that BYOAI scenario. This can happen. You can have developers building agents right now and not be aware of them. Another thing to watch out for is that this is not the next generation of RPA. This is not just stringing applications together through integration. Instead, we have the ability to make decisions and have action taken. So when it comes to the next generation of shadow IT, it's agentic AI.
Finally, you'll hear from Daryl Plummer covering Guardian Agents.
Now, if you've seen this presentation before, you know that I'm trying to talk about disruptions that you might have heard about, but you probably don't know either how close they are to happen or how significant they might be. Now, disruptions in Gartner are a specific kind of thing. We don't just use the word disruption to say something has changed. We use the word disruption to indicate that there has been a fundamental shift in some system of behavior, technology, governance, whatever. And that disruption doesn't go back. Now, the example I've been using for years is that disruption happens in this way. Picture a quiet lake somewhere, and a giant boulder falls off a mountain and hits the lake. There's a big splash. That we call a disruption catalyst. The splash goes away quickly, however. ChatGPT was one of those, by the way. And the thing is that the ripples that radiate out from the splash zone is what we're really interested in. How does it change things? If it's a big enough splash, the ripples could overturn a boat or swamp a dock or change the shoreline. So that's what we care about, and we measure it based on that. And when you have two stones hit the lake, the ripples begin to interfere with one another. They bounce off one another and create complex patterns. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing climate change. We're seeing AI. We're seeing power generation, security, exponential technologies that work together, all colliding with one another. And they have these effects that are harder to track because they're combinatorial. So our jobs just got a lot harder. So that's what disruptions are. Now, there's another thing that we have to talk about, which is AI. So AI is at the heart of disruption going forward. People ask me, what comes after AI? And my answer is more AI. We're going to have to figure out how to get it right. We're going to have to figure out how to make it stop having errors. We're going to have to figure out how we should use it, what we should want it to do, and then use it safely and productively. So we're going to be figuring out this AI thing for a while. Anybody here want to say how they know when artificial general intelligence has arrived? It's when you can't tell the difference. If you can't tell the difference, it doesn't matter whether it's really intelligent, whether it really reasons, or whether it's a real person, because you can't tell the difference. And so everything is on a course toward that notion that AI is getting better and better, so we can't tell the difference. Now, our second disruption here is the idea of guardian agents. You've heard about it in multiple presentations because it could be very critical. Having technology that actually oversees what AI is doing is critical because humans cannot do it themselves. Human in the loop is an equation that will collapse on itself because human beings are not numerous enough to track all the AI that's going to be out there, and human beings are not reliable enough to do it right. So you have to have agents that are going to come in here and do it for you. At the intersection of security, observability, filtering, and monitoring, multi-agent systems, and agent orchestration, you find guardian agents. A company called Explain, spelled A-I-X-P-L-A-I-N, is delivering guardian agents now. They're a startup, but they are actually delivering a lot of different kinds of agents, mentor agents, broker agents, and guardian agents to help protect people and to make sure the quality of their AI results are assured. Now, people say, well, hey, we're in a business, we don't deal with that kind of stuff. Well, if you're a bank, you might want to have guardian agents that help your customers get the best deals, get the best loans, help them understand how to manage their accounts. I have children who I would like to have a guardian agent checking where they're at during the day, how fast they're driving on the street, and if they're watching YouTube and Skibbity Toilet way too much. So the idea of a guardian agent can be applied anywhere. And we will do that to actually make them more secure, make them more accurate, make them less dangerous over time. So here's where we are on guardian agents. We'll be transforming markets in 2029 because human in the loop will be a thing of the past as a primary strategy. Of course, there'll be humans in the loop for a long time. But as a primary strategy, you'll be saying AI must combat AI. AI must ensure the safety of AI. And somebody asked me, a smart aleck asked me, well, wait a minute. If the drones or if the agents are watching the other agents, who watches the agents that watch the agents? I said, get out. Just leave. Go. The reality is that the problem space shrinks with each layer. So if you got a problem space, you got agents watching them, the problems that they deal with are less. The next level, they're less and less. You won't have an infinite regress. You'll probably only have to go one or two layers deep. So when we do this, we can do self-healing processes. We can do autonomous systems. We can start seeing the evolution of systems to do what they need to do based on their own terms. So what do you need to do? You have to actually understand that agents are going to accelerate their proliferation. You're going to wake up one day and there are going to be agents all around you and you don't know how they got there. So you have to be starting to think right now about securing agents with technology. So if you have a security observability, monitoring, filtering, and masking practice, start thinking about how you turn those things from just security mechanisms to guardrails, from guardrails to guardian agents. If you're a tech provider, that should be your next speech. From guardrails to guardian agents, that's going to give you a certain amount of success. So develop these products and focus on low-hanging fruit, things that are not life-critical, but certainly need to be overseen.
Thanks for listening to this latest episode of ThinkCast. That was Mary Mesaglio, LeHong, Jean Alvarez, and Daryl Plummer. To learn more about this year's topics and themes at Gartner IT Symposium Expo, and to find a conference near you, follow the links in the notes. ThinkCast will be back wherever you listen to podcasts a week from today. In the meantime, please rate, review, subscribe, and share with a colleague, so neither of you will miss it.
ThinkCast is a production of Gartner. This podcast may not be reproduced or distributed in any form without Gartner's permission. It consists of the opinions of Gartner's research organization, which should not be construed as statements of fact. Content provided by other speakers is expressly the views of the speaker and/or their organization. While the information contained in this podcast has been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, Gartner disclaims all warranties as to the accuracy, completeness, or adequacy of such information. Although Gartner research may address legal and financial issues, Gartner does not provide legal or investment advice, and its research should not be construed or used as such.